What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. Since the last 3 or 4 episodes, which I batch recorded in Florida, I had left New York, went to Florida for those 10 days where I recorded those episodes, then went to California for 6 days, which I pre-recorded those episodes for, then flew back to New York a few days ago for another month before I head back to Florida, hopefully for a little bit before I have to go to India. I've traveled a lot for work before, so traveling isn't the big deal here for me. But the fact that these trips were mostly built around connection and emotions. It was my first time I planned my work around the main course of meeting old friends and having a bit of fun while I'm at it, as well as planning around building in time to just sit and exist and enjoy nature and process my thoughts. It was also the first time I planned around not having anything go to plan. With all the things going on in my life, I have decided that it was not worth stressing about anything additional, and it put me in this take it as it goes kind of mindset. It's very rare for me to find myself operating this way, but it's not without having taken in the lessons over the past couple months and maybe even the past couple years, and all this moving around, going from one place to another, living in one state or another country, only reinforced and reminded me of the temporary nature of everything and the requirement to make the most of each passing moment, each passing conversation, while at the same time having no particular attachment to how I want each moment to go, just letting it happen and fall into place as it should, and trusting what is happening is as it should be. It's a balance between being intentional and not being inflexible. When my father passed, I was surrounded by people I haven't seen in a long time. Family members, cousins, distant relatives, friends. And I had this question for all of them. When was the last time I saw you? And the answer from most of them was 10, 15 years ago. And some of them I was really close friends with or had close relationships with. Still, I was probably 21 or 22 when I saw them last. And that's not the scary part. I wasn't asking this question as a way of, remember when? I was asking that question more so to calculate this. If our cadence of seeing each other is once every 10 to 15 years, then the scary part really is that I might be 50 before I see them again. And that hit me in the face of how fast time flies. And when you have a realization like this, you try to live differently in the future. You try not to have 15 years pass before you have to be reminded of this same lesson again. This has left me with a couple themes that I plan to live my life by. One is to build in a little bit of fun in everything that I do. We make the mistake of thinking that we can sequence life, that once I get here, I will do this. Once I have money, I will enjoy. Once I get settled, I will do more of what I love. Once my kids grow up, I will finally follow my dreams. Once I get to this place, I will finally start living that way. And unfortunately, we cannot sequence life this way. Half of your life will pass before you realize you haven't had any fun in a long time or can't remember the last time you did something you love. And the fact is, what it would have felt like in your 20s to do some things, it's not going to feel the same in your 30s and 40s. There is no sequencing of life. You must do it all, must live it all at once, immediately, now. So, having this lesson fresh in my mind, I went back to Florida for a few days, tried to make the most of it, and California, where I haven't been for 5 years, and making sure I wanted to make the most of my time. I tried to make sure if anyone has the time to see me, people who I haven't seen in a long time, I requested for any of them and all of them to come give me a hug for even 5 minutes. Because again, I did not know how quickly another 5 years will pass or when I will have the opportunity to see them again. And it was more so no one felt the pressure to think that they have to come and spend a lot of time with me or to take a lot of time out of their day for me. Because as much as I would have enjoyed more time with each person, it wouldn't be any less enjoyable or any less meaningful if they just came and spent 5 minutes with me. Even that would be enough. And even if I get the opportunity to see them again the next month, it doesn't necessarily take away the importance of today. Even if you're not traveling, or you're not just finally seeing people you haven't seen in a while like I am. Even if you're with the same exact people that you are with every day, that you can see again tomorrow and the next month. Even with those people, you cannot sequence life. You have to have every experience you want with them as soon as possible to live fully in the moment you are in with them. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man. Every moment is its own uniquely presented opportunity. And life has shown me, anytime I have ever fully lived out a moment, it's important to stop for that moment and cherish it and breathe it in. Because the chances of that exact moment, exact feeling inside of me being recreated is very unlikely. You will never live this day again, this very second. As it is gone, it offered you its own breath of fresh air. And you must exhale it in the next breath so that you are empty to receive the following breath. And like this, life goes on, never to be repeated. Here's the thing though. While you do all of this and try to make the most of each moment, the paradoxical thing about it is you can't really make the most of the moment while trying to make the most of the moment. See, as much as intentionality has its own place in our life, and really, you cannot really live a life out of your own design unless you have an agenda for it. Still though, while you try to make the most of each passing moment, having learned this, to now be more intentional about living fully and building in fun into work and trying not to fall into the sequencing of life trap, still, the paradoxical part is you have to have all of this intention, but you cannot let it make you inflexible. The weird thing is, if you put so much pressure on the moment to make it the most, it will drown in your expectations of it. You will have to put so much weight on it to make it all that it can be that you will end up living more in your imagined picture of it than how it ends up unfolding in front of you. And in that attempt, you rob yourself of that moment again by being stuck in your head. You have to get yourself to a place where you're at the right level of intentional, head in the right direction in some general sense, but then experience without expectation. Have no cherished outcomes. Let things flow as they may. Too much cherishing, and you leave yourself not enough to cherish. I love you, family. Stay true always. I see you on the next show.